Welcome back to Behind the Headlines. The redistricting arms race in Texas, set off by President Trump, is going nuclear and national. In Missouri, Democrats could lose one of only two congressional seats that they hold if the governor calls a special session about what opponents label as gerrymandering. Rudy Keller is deputy editor of the Missouri Independent, tracking all this, back with an update. And here you are again so soon, Rudy. Welcome back.
Good to be back, Steve. I told you I'd always be available when you ask.
There you go. We appreciate it. So Governor Kehoe told us this week, KY3 News, that he is not calling a special session yet, but, quote, "We will see if there is a path that makes sense for Missourians." Would you mind translating that for us?
Well, that means he's trying to figure out both what he could get done in the future if this is slammed through, and the Senate Democrats, who have the power to filibuster everything, may take it out on the next year's legislative agenda that the governor has. He's also thinking maybe that his biggest political challenge in the next gubernatorial election in 2028 might come from the right. And if he doesn't accede to the president's wishes, the president may start tweeting about Governor Kehoe on social media. Could even lead it to an endorsement of a primary opponent. And that would, in the current political climate in Missouri, a Republican primary opponent may be more dangerous than a Democratic general election opponent.
So have you been able to get a reading on what the state GOP's momentum to do what Trump is asking for?
Well, there's some reluctance among some members of the Republican Party, but the party over the years, especially in the House of Representatives of Missouri, has shown a great deal of ability to come together. Right? There are 20 or so votes more than are needed on the Republican side to pass any bill. So it could be that some Republicans who think it's unfair, who feel that it's kind of breaking the rules, as you know, Governor Newsom of California said, Republicans break the rules, we'll break the rules. And you know, we'd rather not have a complete breakdown of the compact that keeps us as one country and respecting the political opponents. But you know, there is room for dissenters to vote against it without failing it in the House. But in the Missouri Senate, it's going to take a motion to shut off debate, and that will take 18 votes. So if there were 6 or 7 Republican senators reluctant to go that far, that could kill it in the Missouri Senate.
So a geographical question here, Rudy. Remind us which seat or seats in Missouri would be targets and when and where.
Well, the Democratic representative from Kansas City, Emmanuel Cleaver, represents a district that is not majority minority, and that's important because of the Voting Rights Act. And so Representative Wesley Bell on the east side of the state in the 1st district has a majority minority district, and so that would be protected. So it would have to be the Kansas City district. Now, how you slice and dice those Democratic voters into Republican districts in just enough numbers so that they can never win is the mathematical question of the day. The political question of the day is, would someone like Emmanuel Cleaver, who recognizes that he's not someone who has got a minority base that controls the district, someone who has been in office for 20 years and was mayor of Kansas City before that and is well known. Would he be able to prevail against, say, a Southwest Missouri Democrat? I think we discussed the L-shaped district last week.
That's right. Right.
All the way to. So let's say a candidate from Branson became the Republican nominee. Would the voters, even Republican voters in the Kansas City area, want to say, well, we'll trade someone who knows who we are and where we live and what our neighborhoods are like for someone who lives 200 miles away? They're the same party, but do they have the same focus?
So are there any major hurdles that would need, if we can call it this, a special maneuver to get a final vote on redrawing Missouri's congressional district map?
Yeah, the House of Representatives regularly runs with what's called a previous question motion, the majority leader will have, a bill will be given an hour or so, and the majority leader says, that's enough. We're not changing minds with this discussion. And he gets up and he says, we're going to move the previous question. You can do the same in the Senate. You can shut off debate, but you have to have a written motion. It has to have 10 signatures on it, and then it comes to a vote. And that's what makes it such a thing that the Senate tries to avoid. It causes bad blood. It's so rarely used that whoever it's used by pays the price by everything being slowed down afterwards. So now it was used twice in the spring for important things that were Republican priorities: repealing the sick leave law, putting another amendment on the ballot that would perhaps repeal the abortion rights amendment. So they've used it twice this year. Democrats were going to make them pay the price in the spring, and when they come back for the regular session. So they might think, well, if the Senate is wrecked, how much more wrecked can it be if we do this again?
So are there any Senate Republicans, for example, that you've talked to that are not in favor, or they're in no rush about this, or have concerns about doing this?
Well, what's interesting is Senator Mike Moon from down there in southwest Missouri, big supporter of a 7-1 map when the debate was occurring immediately after the census from 2020. He's saying he's not sure it's fair to do it now because of the partisan power grab nature of what it looks like. Senator Mike Searpoy from the Jackson County area, well, he worries about how many Democrats might end up in a district that they think is going to be Republican and then turns out not to be, or Democratic votes in other districts that in a bad year for Republicans could turn one of those seats into a Democratic seat. So he's term limited, as is Senator Moon, by the way. And so they are not thinking, I have to be exactly what my Republican voters want me to be in order to keep this job. They have a little bit more freedom to say, especially if they don't think they've got a future or another post that they're wanting to run for. Sure. So all those considerations will play into this when the final vote comes, if it does.
So before you go, if there is a special session, as just mentioned, what is the first message we are likely to hear from the Democratic leadership?
Hell no, probably. And there's a news conference that Black legislative leaders are having, that's going to be essentially going to be the message, I think, that we're going to hear. So that's already the message that's out there. Unfortunately, if Republicans want to do this and they're willing to go all the way with the shutting off debate in the Senate, they really can't stop it.
We will leave it there for now. We've been talking with Rudy Keller, who has to get to that news conference. Rudy is with Missouri Independent. You can see his stories and other Missouri Independent reporters online on social media, as well as this conversation on KY3.com and the KY3 News app. Rudy, we always look forward to next time. You always make us smarter. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Steve. Have a good day.
All right.